Hi.
Finally, we did that.
Finally.
So this is our first podcast. Do you want to explain why you joined the team?
My name is Marina Maliden. I am the first IFBB Pro from Israel in the bikini category. It's a physique sport. Been in fitness for 13 years. Grew up in Israel, and that's where I met Kate. I moved to America 10 years ago. I always was into fitness, nutrition, healthy lifestyle, because I feel like I wanted to help people live longer, change the world, give to my community back. So that was the purpose of starting it. And now, as I grew up and matured as a woman, new innovative things start happening in the world. I started being more focused on the health aspect. That's why I was really curious to start this podcast. It's because we are going to explore all these wonderful new things happening in the world, from cosmetic transformation, from mindfulness, from spirituality, art, medicine, nutrition. There's so many interesting things that we can do to help our life be better quality, longer, and healthier. We obviously can't do everything, but it's good to explore and see what we can do. Like every person is different, so every person will choose a different path. So yeah.
We want to dive deep into your lifestyle of how you keeping it all together as a successful fitness trainer. How do you keep it all balanced?
It's not a secret. It's knowing your why, right? So every person, they have all these wants and goals in life, but they don't really ask why they want to achieve certain things. If you really know your why, like for example, you want to live longer. Why you want to live longer? What is the purpose? You want to be there for your children. Maybe you want to achieve something amazing in the world that will change the world. You love living. You love life. You want to explore. You're curious about life. There's a lot of whys. Right? When you choose your why and you know your why, you don't need motivation. You don't need choosing priorities. That's what drives you. So it's a lot about scheduling and planning. There is only 24 hours in a day, but how do you choose to spend those hours and with who matters? Making space for mindfulness, making space for physical fitness, making space for healthy nutrition, making space for a circle of friends that motivate you, elevate you, challenge you, and taking all the things that maybe less matter and not putting too much effort in them, like fighting, upsetting, overthinking, really understanding what is important for us in life and how can we prioritize that. It's about just doing and being and experiencing the present.
We wanted to know exactly what
More.
you do.
Okay.
Learning tips from you. If you're living unhealthy and all different addictions, you don't have a right crowd around. How do we fix it? Where do we start? And how do we get to the point where you are now?
First of all, thank you. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of the world. So I would say that it's always a work in progress. We always need to think about how we innovate ourselves, cleaning up your life and choosing the environment you want to be in, the things that will bring you to the goal, right? The why is important to understand why we do things, but as well, waking up in the morning and starting your day with mindfulness. I do that a lot. 10 minutes affirmation or meditation, get a little sun, get a little bit of breathing work. That's important. Instead of opening your phone right away and start answering emails as soon as you get up in the morning.
You wake up.
10 minutes.
You do 10 minutes meditation before you brush your teeth.
Just get up, stretch, move around.
I want to know from the start,
Yes.
when you decided to be helping people, how did you came to this idea?
My grandfather died from diabetes and it could have been prevented because we just didn't know any better. And was very scared to take care of his life. The doctors came in too late with the intervention. He was in his 60s. I was 18. I was in the army, so 18. So for me, it was traumatic. He was like the main character that is a main character in my family. It was very important to me. And see him not having the information, not having the knowledge, that's probably what killed him, is not understanding. Because he was strong. He quit smoking in one day. So he could have done better with nutrition and exercise. Just didn't know.
Had a coach like Marina.
I didn't know exactly how to do it because it's so hard to say no, something you used to do, right? Like eating chocolate and sitting more. He's getting older, so you want to relax, but he needed to get out and start moving and eating better. So I think that shaped me because I was like, I don't want to see another person like my grandma suffer. I was like, I'm going to help people live longer.
Do you think he gave up?
I think he really didn't know. They didn't know. They knew how to take medication. They knew to listen to the doctor, but If they would change their lifestyle, it could have prevented all that. He didn't die specifically from diabetes. He died from having open heart surgery because his arteries was clogged. Something that he could have prevented once he got the first sign. But again, no information, no education about fitness and the priorities of healthy lifestyle, eating healthy and movement. Didn't have that, and stress, managing stress. I grew up in communism. You couldn't have feelings. You just needed to work, do your thing, and support your family. There was not a lot to explore.
So from 16 years old, you decide, that's it, I'm gonna start helping people.
Yes, you have to start with figuring out what you want to achieve in your health and wellness, and then really explore and maybe even get help about the things that are harder.
What was your learning process? Where did you start getting information?
I went to a school that had a very special program for athletes. And I was an athlete already. I was running track and I was dancing ballet. So I did have fitness in my life, but I really put a lot of effort into choosing my courses, really diving into fitness. When I got into the Army, it was easy to go and be a drill sergeant and really move the body and being physical. But then something was lacking, and that was the nutrition part and the mindfulness part. That one I started tackling in college because that's a little bit more technical.
And what's the resources in college you started learning from? Books, from
professors, lectures, testing on athletes, because the university I studied in, it's a facility that trains athletes to go to Olympics to represent Israel. So we did have a lot of testing. It was a research. You would learn how to check VO2 max, which is the consumption of oxygen in your body, the most efficient way for an athlete. Obviously, those researches were not for the everyday person, but it is something to start with, to understand what are we looking for? What is the parameters for an elite athlete compared to everyday person? What's average? What's above average? So it was interesting. It was more of exploration like we're doing today in the field of what is possible. And then when I finished college, that's when I actually start working with people. And that was upon me to take courses and really educate myself about everyday person. When they teach you kinesiology and biochemistry, they teach you the perfect person. You have this human being, what can you do to make him healthy and fit? Every person comes different. Posture, injury, maybe bad habits. Nobody's perfect. So you have to help people that are struggling. So
what do you do now if you don't have access to university? You're already a middle-aged person and you just need to start changing.
You start with hiring a coach. Yeah. We don't need to do testing of your VO2 max. That's not important for everyday person. You're not trying to maximize your swim time and holding your breath underwater or your sprints. You're trying to elevate your experience in life as a human being. So that would start with actually having a plan. A lot of people work out without a plan. They come to the gym and lift some weights. If you look at it as a business venture, you don't go to the office with no plan. But you have a plan, what you're going to do, how you're going to build your business.
We want to dive deep into your lifestyle of how you're keeping it all together as a successful fitness trainer. How do you keep it balanced?
It's not a secret. It's knowing your why, right? So every person, they have all these wants and goals in life, but they don't really ask why they want to achieve certain things. If you really know your why, like for example, you want to live longer. Why you want to live longer? You want to be there for your children. Maybe you want to achieve something amazing in the world that will change the world. You love living. You love life. You want to explore. You're curious about life. There's a lot of whys. Right? When you choose your why and you know your why, you need motivation. That's what drives you. So it's a lot about scheduling and planning. There is only 24 hours in the day, but how do you choose to spend those hours and with who matters? Making space for mindfulness, making space for physical fitness, making space for healthy nutrition, making space for a circle of friends that motivate you, elevate you, challenge you, and taking all the things that maybe less matter and not putting too much effort in them, like fighting, upsetting, overthinking, really understanding what is important for us in life and how can we prioritize that. It's about just doing and being and experiencing the present.
We wanted to know what you do.
Okay.
Learning tips from you. If you're living unhealthy and all different addictions, you don't have a right crowd around, how do we fix it? How do we get to the point where you are now?
First of all, thank you. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of the world. So I would say that it's always a work in progress. We always need to think about how we innovate ourselves. Cleaning up your life and choosing the environment you want to be in, the things that will bring you to the goal, right? The why is important, so understand why we do things. But as well, waking up in the morning and starting your day with mindfulness. I do that a lot. 10 minutes affirmation or meditation, get a little sun, get a little breathing work. That's important. Instead of opening your phone right away and start answering emails as soon as you get up in the morning.
Wake up, you do 10 minutes meditation before you brush your teeth.
Get up, stretch, move around.
I want to know from the start,
yes,
when you decided to be helping people, how did you came to this idea?
My grandfather died from diabetes and it could have been prevented. We just didn't know any better. The doctors came in too late with the intervention. He was in his 60s. I was 18. I was in the army, so 18. So for me, it was traumatic. He was like the main character that is a main character in my family. It was very important to me. And see him not having the information, not having the knowledge, that's probably what killed him, is not understanding. Because he was strong. He quit smoking in one day. So he could have done better with nutrition and exercise. We just didn't know.
Had a coach like Marina.
It's so hard to say no, something you used to do, right? Like eating chocolate and sitting more. He's getting older, so you want to relax, but he needed to get out and start moving and eating better. So I think that shaped me because I was like, I don't want to see another person like my grandma suffer. I was like, I'm going to help people live longer.
Do you think he gave up?
I think it really...
We want to know everything you do, the morning till the night. How do you keep yourself strong? How do you keep motivating yourself? Sometimes I find myself, I cannot do things that I used to do. We are women and we have
the cycle.
What do you do in the times when it's really hard to put yourself together and start doing things?
I really try to focus not to think negative. So if there's a negative thought, I always acknowledge it and shoo it away. But I do like to be more mindful, have more meditation, more breath work in those difficult times. So if I'm feeling like it's very hard to get up in the morning, I'll start doing breath exercises to help me to get up because I'm trying to focus. And that means that make me like want to stand up and get out of bed because sometimes we just want to stay in, right? So I'm trying to wake my brain in a very positive, mindful way. On days leading to the female cycle, our body's a little bit exhausted. You want to be mindful of what you eat. You want to be as well mindful of how you move. So if you feel like you don't want to work out that day, it's totally fine. But you do want to pay attention that you don't eat very damaging products like processed sugar, a lot of caffeine. You want to make sure that you nourish your body with healthy things to help it create its own energy.
What is your menu of days when you need to restore yourself and of the days when you fully energy?
Okay. The days that I work out really heavy, and I advise people to strength train because when you get older, that's the one thing that's going to keep you walking and not being sedentary. When I strength train, I make sure I prioritize carbs. Carbs are not the enemy. Rice is not the enemy. Bread is not the enemy. It's how much of what you eat, the portion control. It really depends from person to person. But making sure that you eat your carbs around the workout so you have energy. On days that I'm feeling a little bit weaker, I'm a little bit more sluggish and it's around the period, I make sure that I eat healthy fats, salmon, omega-3, nuts, avocado. So my nutrition changes by what I need to do in the day and how am I feeling.
What's about all these diets with keto?
There's no such thing as best diet, right? It's what works for you. For me, it works to do what I just told you. There's no such thing as a person that is like another person. Every person is different. Yes, you can do keto, carnivore, fed diet, fasting, whatever you like.
But what did
it works for you. I try everything. I know what works for me. I need to eat carbs a lot, 6 times a day, and that works for me. I cannot do fasting. But somebody who is flourishing on fasting, that's good for them. I can't say there's a best diet. I just can't because there's none. It's like you say, what's your favorite color? Every person is different. But that's why you have a professional that can really work with you. You need to try to know.
Do you create a personal protocol?
So first of all, what is the goal? If the goal, for example, is to lose weight, right? Yeah. You want to try to see, is the person holding most of their weight in the belly area or in the legs or upper body? If it's in the belly area, we need to do elimination diet. What that means that the person is journaling everything they eat to see what is making inflammation and irritation to the gut bacteria and the lining in the stomach and all the organs.
Do the testing?
You can do testing or just self-awareness and journaling. If you eat onions one time and you don't feel really good afterwards and you do it again tomorrow, then you removed it and you felt better with the onions, right? You have a lot of facilities these days that can do genetic testing, elimination diet, food tolerance, food allergy testing. If you're on a budget, you can do it by journaling too, right? So it's a little bit more work for you. So that's why there's a lot of options. If somebody's holding most of their weight in the legs or upper body, that is something we can address by choosing food and looking at their nutrition to see if it's healthy. Healthy nutrition is not processed, and nutrition that is prioritizing high protein, making sure that we're working with the goal of the person. If the goal is to grow muscle, we're not going to do low protein diet. If you want to lose weight, you're not going to eat a lot of calories. You're going to be in a deficit. As long as you have a deficit, you will lose weight, even if you're eating donuts.
Spit it out.
It's same with workout, right? If you're a beginner and you decide that you just want to do Pilates, that's okay. What makes you move? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel happy? As long as you move. There's no such thing as the best thing. If you're working around injury, yes, there are things that you can do better because you really need to strengthen the muscles around the injury. But if you just want to be healthy and you're a beginner, do what make you move and make you feel good.
You had an injury. Tell us.
I had an injury from ballet. I had a torn ligament in my hip. I went the stem cell route because when I went to do a checkup, the MRI with the doctor, they advised me to do surgery.
Okay, so what's happened when you had your injury?
So when I was 17, I had an injury in ballet. I actually stopped dancing because of that. I had a torn ligament, a landed in a split, very hurt. But it didn't affect me much. For 1 month, it was hurting, and then I continued with my life. But 10, 12 years after, it started showing up in various ways. A pinched nerve, high inflammation, stiff muscles, and I started being concerned. So I did the MRI, and the typical advice from a doctor is surgery, right? And he was like, oh, it's going to be a non-invasive one, so it's not big. And I was like, okay, how long is the recovery? 6 months. No. As an athlete, I was like, there's no way. But I don't want to live in pain. So I tried to do alternative medicine. And I tried to do blood transfusion, the white blood cells. That helped a lot with inflammation. But eventually I went...
Can you give us a little bit more?
They take your blood and they put it in a certain machine. And they take all the healing cells, the white blood cells, and inject it back in the area. So it reduces the inflammation in the area because those white blood cells, their job is to heal the body. But when you put them in high concentration in a certain area, it works better. So that removes inflammation, but then repair the situation, I need to do stem cell. So I did a full year treatment of cell injections. I was my own donor because in the United States, you can only do your own donor. So they harvest stem cell from your spine and they inject in the infected area. It doesn't hurt. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's nothing like being in a wheelchair for 6 months. It helped so much. I'm fully functioning. I can work out, train. So that was a big deal in my life, this big injury.
Wow. And how long it took the process to...
I started feeling better already after the second, third treatment. I started feeling no pain, but muscles to actually connect and grow upon each other and build new cells, you have to wait a little bit. And then you do all kind of other treatments to help reduce inflammation, a lot of laser, very individual process per injury, per person. Laser? So you do some laser to heat up the area after you do the stem cell. It helps with reducing pain. There's a lot of different treatments. There's supplementation against inflammation, omega-3, turmeric I took. Did a lot of interesting things, and eventually it really helped.
Did you experiment yourself just from your...
No, to a doctor. Regenerative medicine, stem cell. Miami stem cell. Dr. Bourgeois. He has a franchise, Next Genesis, but the one that we have here in Miami called stem cell.
Oh,
yeah. Hopefully one day we'll bring him for an interview.
Yeah.
So he can explain to us a little bit more in depth what kind of stem cell for which area. It would be interesting to explore.
And what about any other ups and downs so we can...
Emotional, I think so. We go through a lot of things in life. A lot of things affect our life. It's how do we deal with the situation? I feel like in the beginning, I really did not know how to differentiate between how I feel and what's the severity of the situation. A very black and white person, very invested. It's a good thing to be 100% on everything, but sometimes it's very tiring. So I think that sometimes it's important to dive into yourself and learn about yourself and try to heal from the inside too. Because being wellness, being a fit person, it's not just about physical fitness or nutrition.
So what did you do?
So I started with breath work. That was the main thing. I started box breathing, breath work. nostril breathing, really focusing on.
Where did you find the
research? Yeah, just research from what I found online. And then I hired a therapist. That she was a psychologist with a more mindful route. So she explained to me why we do breathing exercises, for which reasons. We did a lot of guided meditation, explored the inner traumas, and she gave me a lot of tools how to deal with things that come up. Because one thing is to explore and find what is triggering you, but the other thing is what do you do when it does. So that was really interesting. I'm not coaching my clients breath work, but I do refer them to therapists that specialize in that.
What is her name, so we know?
I wouldn't currently work in the area anymore. She was in Ukraine. I don't know. I don't know what happened to her.
You do online?
Yes.
Yeah. What's the next step after you recover? You just go back straight to your...
A lot of regeneration into my everyday routine. I lift a lot. I do a lot of cardio, but as well learning how to relax, stretch, yoga, breathing, moving your body in softer ways.
So how many days? Give us like a week of your exercising. What is the routine?
I meditate 10 minutes in the morning. I don't do a lot of cardio for weight loss anymore because I don't need to, but I walk. I walk everywhere I go, and I try to park far and have an active route. I work as a trainer, as a personal trainer, so I walk a lot. Cardio is there. If I would not be as active, I would probably do Stairmaster or treadmill walk if I need to add. I work upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, and that's it.
How many
5 days a week.
Reps?
I do 1 hour of lifting. I do between 3 sets of 10 to 12. And I have 2 days that I work on strength. So 1 upper strength day, 1 lower strength day. On those days, I lift really heavy. I do 4 sets of 5. But I work on the work capacity, not on the muscle growth, but on the strength part, technique. And then 1 day I do yoga and 1 day I do Pilates.
Okay.
I work every day, but I sleep at 8 hours and I make sure that I recover and eat very healthy. I do take time off sometimes, but just when I feel I need to.
So what is your menu?
My menu. I eat green vegetables in every meal. I eat 25 grams of protein every meal. So 25 grams will be like palm of your hand amount of protein. Chicken, fish, beef, shellfish, protein shakes, yogurt. I don't eat dairy much because I'm a little bit intolerant. I prioritize eating healthy fats. So I do olive oil, avocado, salmon, nuts. And for carbs, I'm very simple. I only do pita bread because I like it, potatoes and rice. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah. I eat 6 times, 6 meals. 3 meals will be big meals and then 3 snacks. And I drink a lot of water.
What's for snacks?
Nuts, fruits, shakes. I love a green. I mostly make meals at home.
So Marina, I wanted to ask your personal advice. For example, I'm not super motivated to work out. It's intimidating me because every morning you wake up and you feel like, oh my God, I have to do, but maybe I do it later. But then I'm running away from myself. This is my personal, yeah. But sometimes I have the days when I have so much energy and I just go and do it. But in that days, I really need the help of a coach like you who's focusing on these things and can inspire me.
It's very similar like finding a therapist, I think, to have chemistry, right? So the first thing will be the spark, right? You connect to somebody, you see them speak, maybe on social media, maybe in person, maybe in a podcast like we're filming right now, and you connect to them. You feel a warmth from them. So you can ask questions. You should interview the coach and see what does your programming look like? How do you approach a client? How many times a week do we meet? What is your tools to help me achieve the goal? Ask those questions, right? And I'm really happy to answer. Some coaches don't know how to answer. They might not be the right fit for you. But for your personal story, I would say this. If you feel some days that you don't want to work out, how many days are those approximately? And how many days that are strong? So if you have enough strong days, like 3 days that you feel strong that the week, that's the days you work out. You don't have to force yourself on workout on days that you don't feel like it. In the beginning, you need to do as much as you possibly can and be proud and celebrate small wins. I'm very pro positivity and encouraging my clients. And I don't like the negative affirmation. I like the positive affirmation. I like to empower and grow with the client. I work through an app where you can log everything for yourself. You can wear a watch that can log it automatically in. You can track your food or just take pictures of your food, but some kind of accountability of process. that helps me to see what you're doing and help you to identify as well what's working for you, because it's all about education.
What's the name of the app?
So I developed my own app. That's how I coach my online clients, because not all my clients can see me in person, as well don't have enough time in the day to see everybody. So I developed an app where you can do experiment and collect data on yourself, learn about your body. I can watch it, help you, give you tools, give you exercises with videos, recipes, stuff like that. And we can as well discuss things, what works, what doesn't, and see progress. So it's really cool. People that train in person, I use a different app to track their stats, but it's more working with people that really want to work on technique and lifting and not just changing their lifestyle as a whole, but actually focusing on specific things in their posture or muscle growth or fat loss. And that's it. And then everything is about mindfulness as well and being friendly. And if we don't connect on a spiritual level or on a chemistry level, that's okay. You can always try somebody else. But for me, it's important, the trust between coach and client, because I can only help you if you're honest with me, but as well, you want me to be honest with you and help you to identify what can you do better.
And what do you create? What comes into protocol when I'm going to ask you to learn about me, and then you're going to create me a routine and diet, and what else?
Yeah, and nutrition. And habits. Let's say you tell me, Marina, I would like to sleep better because I try to grow muscle, I try to have better lifestyle, but my sleep is not so well. So we got to start talking. What do you do before bed? We got to explore. Maybe you wake up in the middle of the night. Oh, that's a lack of serotonin. What if you can't fall asleep? That's a lack of melatonin. Maybe you're distracted by worries. Maybe we need to meditate. Maybe you need to put your phone away 30 minutes before bed. Maybe you're drinking caffeine too late. There's a lot of ways to explore, identify what works for you specifically. That's why when you asked me, what is the best diet? It was so hard to answer because there's no such thing. It's really personalized per client. So for me, it's eating a lot, many times a day. And I like to cook for myself. I don't like packaged food. Other person will be fasting. So it's really about the personal experience for me.
Did you try fasting? How
Yes,
does it work?
I did try fasting. It triggered something that I didn't like. So I am recovering from an eating disorder. When I was a teenager, I had bulimia. One of my biggest passions is to work with women that have eating disorder and healthy relationship with their bodies. So I'm really open book about my triggers.
Yeah, I recently did DNA testing on myself, and that's what uncovered that I'm not supposed to do any fasting. I'm supposed to eat 60% of carbs. I was like very surprised at this. What do you recommend from all the innovations right now in the market?
My clients love to use Apple Watch, Oura Rings, and stuff like that. Me specifically, I don't really care for them. It gives interesting information, but it depends, again, if the person is going to be very OCD about what the app is doing and not doing the movement and the nutrition and the healthy they want to, because they try to close a circle. So again, it's how you approach it. But I do let my clients connect it to my app and see stats, especially runners. So if you have a performance, I want to see your heart rate. So that's interesting. But everyday people, unless they have some kind of goal they're trying to achieve with that app and see progress, I don't think it's necessary. Again, if you have a smaller budget, focus on other things. Innovations that are really would be stem cell regeneration for joints, for a muscle, for cosmetic purposes, even to NAD injections or IV. I think they're great because it increases your cellular energy. It's a really amazing product. Advice. I do believe in people that have hormonal dysfunction to go and seek help and get hormonal therapy. I do believe in testing your hormones at least once every 6 months, because we're always changing. And maybe you need to change your food, and genetic testing as well. I think that's wonderful because you can really see what specifically works for you. There's so much information online. It's too much. We want to focus on what works for us. You.
In terms
of innovations, what is inspiring you right now?
Personally, I'm so basic. I need some guidance. I need someone who can guide me through different things. I agree with stem cells. I work with a clinic. We have clinics in Mexico. It's amazing what they done. I don't really have any issues, health issues. I mostly just need guidance. I need a motivator like you.
Okay. I have a very interesting Instagram account that I created specifically for coaching. You can find a lot of tips there. It's really funny. Brand name Fit by Marina LLC. It's the same as the Instagram account. And DM me there. Or you can attach an email as well. You can send me an email. I can add you to my app. and we can have a consultation.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.